Hello everybody and a very warm welcome to our concluding edition of our Food Reserve, a culmination of the programs or highlights that we've seen in the last quarter. My name is Alec Bukala Indosaka. Don't go away.
The Food Reserve Agency is a state-owned institution that was established through an act of parliament. That is the Food Reserve Act, chapter number 225 of 1995 of the laws of Zambia. So now this organization was established with three pillars or three key mandates. We'll look at the first one being that of administering national strategic food reserves, and the second one being the provision of market access to the rural small-scale farmers. Now, every year, through the Ministry of Agriculture, the minister identifies certain food commodities that are essential for food security. And these food commodities are through the SI, and in this case, the SI we are referring to is that of 2015, which set 8 designated agricultural food commodities. There is a mandate that looks at provision of market of these designated agricultural food commodities. And the third one, which is the management of national strategic food reserves. Now here we manage the storage investment or the storage of national produce.
Lots of people do not know that at the Food Reserve Agency, Depot Mongwe in particular, we do have equipment that is used for quality assurance, a high-tech laboratory.
What we have here at Mongwe Depot is a food safety laboratory for the Food Reserve Agency. What we do here is grain quality analysis and certification. We also do quality assurance for clients.
Here at the lab, we receive samples from all the regions in Zambia. We've got 12 regions. So they send us samples here at the lab for analysis to check the grade of the maize. Mostly the samples we receive are maize samples. We also receive soya and rice. But our main focus is mostly maize samples. What happens is they send us samples here, we record them. The date the sample was delivered, the date was sampled, how many samples were sent before analysis. Then we bring them here in the lab. We analyze them. When we're done analyzing, we make a maize certificate, a grading certificate, which is signed by the supervisors.
So what's the shelf life? How long would the grain last with correct moisture content?
Once the grain has the correct moisture content, you can store the grain even up to 5 years if the storage facility is in good condition and you are able to monitor continuously for the quality of the grains.
Any assurances for the consumers and the country at large?
We use these moisture meters in all our buying points, and the staff there are able to check the moisture content before we even buy the grain. We only buy grain once the moisture content has reached 12.5 or less. To be able to stock the grain for a longer period of time, reducing the loss in our grain. At the same time, we'll be able to supply the consumers the correct quality of grain which they want, which they desire, which is grade A grain.
It's important for everyone to understand, to say what determines profit. It's also a concern for us as FRI because we know that if farmers are not getting value from whatever they are doing, from their production and everything, then they'll stop producing. And without the farmers, then FRI cannot exist. Maybe we need to look at what determines profit. Yes. From the layman's point of view, probably it can be defined as the revenue you get. If whatever you produce, you sell, the total revenue which you get, then you reduce that by the cost, the total cost you spend to produce that. is what determines profit.
Is there any advice you can give to grain farmers?
If we want to take agriculture as a business, we also need to look at the cost. There are a number of costs which are involved in the production of maize, starting from the sourcing various inputs, the seed, the fertilizer and all those, the cultivating itself, the weeding itself. If there can be ways of looking at all those issues. And mind you, us as FRA, we deal with the farmers who are able to sell something, because the minimum we get from a farmer is 10 bags. So we deal with farmers who are able to produce enough for themselves as well as have something for sale. So if anyone wants to grow something for sale, they want to get money, they want to get profit. Yes. They cannot ignore the issue of looking at the input side and see how they can minimize on the costs. The guiding factor should be the profit. We have really no control over the price. The price is determined by the market forces. But also as farmers, let us do things which we have control on the how much we can harvest, how can we reduce the costs, maybe by looking at things which are more effective, so that at least even when the market determines a particular price, then it shouldn't affect us adversely.
Several achievements have been realized through the Scaling Up Nutrition program. However, a lot more needs to be done to ensure sustainability, with more interventions and linkages to farmers countrywide in livestock and value chain of vegetables.
As a nation, I would encourage everyone to take keen interest, and every meal, even when we are buying food, we should actually be aware of what nutrients am I going to get from this type of food. Even when we are producing food, we should actually plan and know that this type of food that we are planting, this is what we are aiming to get there. The combination of the meals actually going to help us to have a nutritious, healthy nation and well-developed with very intelligent children in the near future to be.
As a commission, we encourage households to really take the diversification agenda seriously, because of we are seeing a lot of micronutrient deficiencies and related diseases. We are talking about, for example, type 2 diabetes, hypertension, because of naturally the kind of foods that we are eating. So it means that if we can diversify our diets, if households can diversify our diets, their diets, you find that we are going to reduce on this, for example, non-communicable deficiencies and micronutrients deficiencies. And what does that do for the country? What that does for the country is we are going to save in terms of resources that we are using to treat this kind of diseases that come because of the diet, because of lack of diversified diet that we are currently experiencing as a country.
Mr. Nkobenye, how do you collaborate with the Food Reserve Agency?
Excellent. Like the Food Reserve Agency is a very key player in the agriculture sector, in the food security area. They, for us, are a major partner in as we are carrying out a mandate, especially in the sector of food, agriculture. FRA, as you know, are a major player who go to buy the grain on the market during the grain marketing season. So what we do before they go on the market, they approach us and present to us all their measurement instruments in excess of 3,000 scales across the country. So we go to their depots and verify them and ensure they're accurate, so that when they go to buy from our farmers, they're using accurate scales, so that FRA and our farmers are not losing out. They're using accurate, so that our farmers can get a benefit from their hard work. And at the same time, FRA doesn't lose out because of wrong measurements. So we go in and verify everything before they do. So that we do every year. So before the commencement of the grain marketing season, they invite us, they present their skills, and then we do the verification of those skills.
In terms of our national storage capacity, Sitting with FRA, we are at 856,500 metric tons.
Is the storage capacity of 856,500 metric tons able to match up with national production?
Over time, you notice that we have been able to invest more in terms of infrastructure in the southern part, because these are the food baskets of the country. Without the government investment there, or the FRA's investment in storage there, the immediate solution that we look for or we go for is the storage infrastructure owned by the private sector. We store the grain for the nation, strategically positioned or strategically reserved for the bad times.
The challenge that we face maybe at this level is farmers themselves refusing to sell this maize to us because they feel and think selling maize to us is a sheer waste of time. Now imagine the faithful farmers who sold maize to us didn't do that. What would have been the situation now?
The people come from near and far in Choma district. It's not only the villagers, even urban populations, because the food comes from the areas, farming areas, it comes and then they are able to buy meal at affordable prices. But this situation tells us that FRA becomes the safe line for the people to get the maize, because there's literally no food. They can't get food anywhere apart from FRA. That has hampered a lot of other sectors such as education, where the school attendance drops drastically. We continue collaborating with food reserve agents.
So far, for every year that we started this operation, FRA has given DMMU slightly above 80,000 metric tons of maize. So the partnership between FRA and DMMU we can't separate. We can't do without. And anything that goes to FRA, anything that comes from DMMU is emergency. Within 2-3 hours, the orders should come out from FRA. We don't wait for 2 days, 3 days. The longest waiting period that we wait at FRA is 3 hours. Latest to be 3 hours. Within 3 hours, all the documents, all the requirements are delivered to us, including the community sales that we are helping our people in the communities. FRA has opened more sheds to try and service the people. So the partnership is very good with FRA, and we continue to improve our working relationship to ensure that we serve the people of Zambia.
As we trade, we use the pan-territorial pricing strategy, where our prices are the same everywhere. Be it rural, be it urban, it's one single price. So now you look at that, when you look at that, it helps facilitate the distribution of wealth to the participating farmers out there in the rural communities.
And connected to wealth creation is obviously the creation of employment and boost to local business.
And that's it. Thank you for your comments. We conclude the series of our Food Reserve program. My name is Alec Mugala, and I'd like to say special thanks to a production team of Agnes GSO, Charity Chibanda, and Patrick Chilongo. Many special thanks to our production coordinator, Manyando Liua from FRA. We thank you so much. God bless you, and goodbye for now.